My name is Marty, and this is my story about my life across the bridge over the river of autism and my struggle to try to get to the other side. I was born in 1963. Autism was much more rare than it is today. When I was born, it was something like 1 in 1.5 million, I think, and today it's 1 in 166 kids for the Center for Disease Control. I have 2 older brothers. One is gifted. He's a magna cum laude graduate from Harvard Law School with a degree in I'm a lawyer and I think I know everything and I'll sue you if you disagree. The other one is typical. He's kind of a psychopathic jerk, but that's just my opinion. I don't think you would call it that. Look, it's the rock and roller coaster in Orlando, Florida. Has anybody ever been on it? Isn't that the coolest thing? It's got everything you want. It goes really fast. It's got bright lights, and it's just it's perfect. But you know, like a little bit too much of a good thing. The worst meltdown I ever had in my life was getting off of the rock and roller coaster. And you know what I found out that day? It's a very important lesson. You'd be surprised at how very little security guards at theme parks in Florida know about autism. Sometimes I can be working with people and I'll have a meltdown and my verbal skills will go and it's like I've just shut down. It's the cat in the hat in a bathtub with an umbrella eating cake. Isn't that cool? And you might all be wondering what that has to do with emotions. Not a gosh darn thing, but it's my favorite cartoon, and that's the only place in the PowerPoint it would fit. So that's for a win. It was like my first week on, it's like my first Thursday or something on the boat, and the captain goes over and he said, hey, the neurosurgeons from Cleveland need a guide. Are you talking to me? Yeah. I'm from Illinois. He said, shh, don't tell him that. I said, unless there's a cow under there, I'm thinking I'm not going to be much help. He said, just fake it. I'm like, okay. So I am just absolutely perplexed. And I put on my suit and my BC and my tank and I get everything on it. And I get in the water, but because apparently the neurosurgeons from Cleveland could not have found that big ocean the boat was bobbing on without me getting in there first. So I get in and I'm like, come down here. And we go under and I'm like, water. and I find like fish and I'm like, there's the school of fish. And I did happen to find this little octopus underneath this little piece of coral thing. And there was like a turtle off and your normal sea stuff. And then we came to this rock formation, which was really cool, but it would have been the equivalent of standing at the edge of the Grand Canyon and going, what hole? So, we swam through there and we get on the boat and I'm like, oh, come on, God. Guy says his air's he's about to run out and I'm like, well, thank God, let's just end this travesty now, shall we? So we go and we hang on the line and we get up and the head neurosurgeon sends for the captain and I'm thinking, oh, I tried to tell him. And the captain comes over and he says, yes, and he said, I just wanted you to know, this was fantastic. Marty is the best dive guide we have ever had. And I said, and you're a neurosurgeon at what hospital in Cleveland? Vestibular things, a lot of people with autism like trampolines. You'll find people with autism love, not everybody because we're all different, but a lot of people with autism love trampolines, they love to swing. I had a horse, one of those spring horses that, hours, and we had a table that was round, and I would like lay on the table and then get to spinning around in there. Oh, I thought that was just the coolest thing. Loud noises, especially high-pitched noises, bother me tremendously. A lot of people with autism have sensory issues. We have a lot of sensory issues. I have tactile issues. I like to play with shaving cream and silly string. I have a ball that I sit on at work sometimes. It doesn't have the little wheels, because apparently the people who sit next to me would think that bouncing, flapping, and rolling would be too much. Now they just have to do bouncing and flapping. I know what words go under what categories, but I'm not able to really differentiate them like other people can. You win $1 million in the lottery, or a new Harry Potter book comes out. Who's voting for $1 million in the lottery? Yeah, apparently I'm the same level for me. I mean, I'm going to be just as excited with $1 million as new Harry Potter book. And maybe the new Harry Potter book if I can get my hands on it quicker. And the same thing with, you know, Grandma just died to, you know, my favorite TV show was canceled. It's going to be the same level. And I can go from $1 million to Grandma died in like, you know, 2.5 milliseconds. And I guess that's unusual because it really seems to annoy everybody. And sometimes when it happens, Jackie will say to Chuck, "See, look, there she goes." Medication therapy, takes a lot of medication, keep me going. Speech therapy, audio therapy, computer therapy, depending upon who talks about it, hydro or aqua therapy, sensory therapy, play therapy, look, sandwich therapy. I did so well at that, I gained 52 pounds. That's a gluten-free diet, didn't do a doggone thing for me. Writing therapy. Look, this is touch therapy, but she's kissing his forehead. I kind of think kissing therapy sounds a lot better. I think you should look into that. But one of the things that helped me was not a therapy at all. I took scuba lessons in a pool at ISU, and the scuba instructor, Mike Machillan, would get me out of the way first because my patience is like that of a gnat, and he'd get me out of the way, and then I'd just go lay on the bottom of the pool, and it didn't make any difference if those things, if the classes were at 8 o'clock in the morning or at 8 o'clock at night. I was good to go for the rest of the day. Then I went for about 6 months giving speeches, and every speech somebody would go, "Well, is that like hyperbaric therapy?" And finally, at this point, I would say, "Don't anybody even think about asking about hyperbaric therapy. I don't know anything about it." But then when we were in Nashville, I had hyperbaric therapy. It's the same thing. It's very calming. It's like it's like I was like this most of the time, and I was like that. It's hard to explain, but scuba diving, scuba lessons is not a therapy. And I'm the only one I know of who talks about that with scuba, but you'd be surprised at how many people talk about roller coasters in their kids. Johnny was just having a day, and we put him on the roller coaster, and he sprouted wings and a halo. And roller coasters are not a therapy. Although, wouldn't that be cool if it were? Because can you see Blue Cross Blue Shield? Do you want a what in your backyard? It's for therapy. To seat 60, please. I like to control the waves as they hit. I think a lot of us do, and a lot of people with autism really want to control the waves a lot more than a lot of people do. And I'm not going to be able to do that. The most I can do is learn how to surf, and I may never be able to surf alone. I may sometimes be able to surf alone and sometimes not. Some waves I may be able to take alone and some not. But that's okay. I have something that makes me need help. And if someone's in a wheelchair, they're going to need help surfing those waves too. This is just something that I have. But you know, I'm slowly learning that that's okay, and once in a while I can take a wave alone, and that's a really nice feeling. And finally, I've learned that there are people who care about me, and I care about them, and they'll come to my side of the river of autism just to ensure that I never have to go back and forth across the river of autism alone ever again. And in the end, isn't that what we all want?